think about Sam's ending. So I know a lot of y'all found out about it 3 days ago. I found out about it June of 2019, and so I've had a lot of time to think about it. And at first it was probably a little jarring, a little abrupt, a little I guess how would you feel about anybody's ending? And I don't want to answer a question with a question, but let's say hypothetically you were told how you would pass. Would you ever be okay with it? You'd be like, well, either you die happy in your sleep. You're like, well, I want to go out in a blaze of glory. Or they're like, you go out in a blaze of glory. And you're like, oh man, I thought I'd be peaceful. And so there was a finality to it that no matter how Sam had his ending, it would have been difficult to kind of wrap my head around. Once I did digest it and spend, hours and days and weeks and months and over a year with it, I truly feel that it was the best way to tell Sam's story. And Sam tried to live his life the way Dean would have wanted him to live his life. In honor of Dean and his request and his sacrifices, Sam tried to do as best he could what Dean would have wanted. If Dean would have come back to life 20 years later and Sam was still hunting, I think Dean would have been pissed off. Been like, man, I told you, go live your life. We didn't fight all the, lay your weary head to rest, and so I really am passionate about Sam's ending being proper. And that's what Dean would have wanted. And that's what Dean fought for. That's what Mary fought for. That's what John fought for. That's what Bobby and, Sheriff Jody and Donna, and that's what everybody, Castiel, Jack, that's what they all fought for, was the idea that whoever was left could live as, normal a life as possible. So I'm very happy with Sam's ending, as happy as you can be. Debbie_Reed. Hi, Jared. Any other props accidentally end up at your house after shooting ended? Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch actually. I'm in my office in Austin in my house, and I have some stuff. One of the best things I have, my dear friend Jason, who was my stand-in for years and years, and sometimes photo double and sometimes stunt double. He did this for Jensen and for me. And the very last thing, after Bob called cut on the last scene there on the bridge, Jason had, unbeknownst to us, that morning he had gone to the store or whenever he went, he got 2 picture frames, and we didn't realize it. We were distracted. We were shooting the last scene and we were sort of emotional and trying to keep it together. And Jason got 2 copies of the last call sheet. So our final day of filming, our call sheet, here's when you do it set, and here's hair, makeup, wardrobe, and here's our location. And then he had taken our tape marks, and I was always red. So my T's that I had to hit, my mark, were always red, and Jensen was always blue. And Jason, when we didn't know, had gone and taken them up and put a red tape mark on a call sheet and framed it and given it to me. And he had taken a blue sheet of Jensen's blue tape mark and put it on a call sheet and framed it and given it to him. And so that's really meaningful and powerful to me. Yeah, that's one of the many things. I have a few cool things. I can't speak on, but yeah, some of the stuff accidentally ended up here, including Impala sitting in the Bia_Danelli. Hi, Jared. How different is it to be an actor and a producer at the same time? I'm so excited for Walker. Thank you, Bia. I'm super excited, and I know y'all will love it. It's a really awesome show. It is different. It's really interesting. Jensen and I, we weren't called producers on Supernatural, but we certainly, by the end there, by the last 5 or 6 seasons, we had such an understanding of the show and of the way things work that we were able to be, pseudo producers, though not in title, but a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. We did a lot of what Jensen and I did for several years because we didn't really have a creative producer on set after Kim Manners died. We had producers there, but we didn't have full-time producers, creative producers there in Vancouver on set day and night. And so we naturally kind of took on that moniker, I suppose, to some degree. So it's really different, but it's fun because it's amazing. But one of the great parts about it is that you really get to, I think I've done 400 episodes of television, and I've bled and I've sweat and I've cried on set for 20 plus years, and I've learned a lot of lessons, some by accident, some on purpose, a lot of them the hard way. And so I feel like I'm able to, as producer, help guide the story and guide the pace of production the way I know would be best for the show. And so it's really exciting, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. We were hoping it would already be airing, but then we had this whole pandemic and stuff, so we'll get around to it. Andy Moon, hey Jared, Andy from Greece here. Any acting advice you want to give? I'm studying acting and would love to hear it. Andy, hi from Texas, hi to Greece. I would love to be in Greece right now. Acting advice. I think acting advice is difficult because everybody is a different actor or actress, and so I think if I did have any advice, and this is going to sound really weird because acting is in a lot of ways trying to be somebody you're not, but as far as my acting advice, and I'll clarify, but don't try to be somebody you're not. I know it sounds weird. But there are things that you, Andy from Greece, have experienced that I have never experienced. There are things that you have been through that I will never go through. And so don't try to be me. Don't try to be Jensen. Don't try to be Misha. Don't try to be Alexander. Don't try to be Pellegrino or Shep or whoever. Just be you and figure out what story you want to tell. And remember that you're there to tell a story. And so commit to that and commit to who you are and who you have been, and never forget that there are things you've been through and will go through that nobody else on the planet has been through or will go through. And so don't discredit yourself from that, and try and, in some weird way, shape, or form, try and give that to your characters and kick some ass. Christina M. Hi, Jared. What is your favorite song that reminds you of Sam? Well, I guess right now it's pretty obvious to me, Christina M. Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas, especially having just watched the finale and having watched some of the reaction videos to the finale. It's such a powerful song, and I think I've enjoyed the song long before I was on Supernatural. I was a fan of the band and a fan of the song. But now that the show had been over for 2 months and I was able to watch it as a fan, it just occurred to me how wonderful that song is, not just as a song, but also for the show and for the story we were telling. And the other day on the way home from work, Cliff and I were in the truck driving home and here in Austin, and we put it on and just listening to the lyrics. I'm like, man, it has such a deeper meaning now that we know what we know, and now that the show's over, to look back and to really listen again and listen as a fan. So I'll go with Kansas. Magdalena WW, can you talk a bit about the pre and post COVID scripts and the changes made? Yeah. I guess I'm allowed to do this now. Well, no one's told me not to. They can't fire me anymore because the show's already over. Can you talk about the pre and post COVID scripts and the changes made? So the biggest deal with the post COVID scripts is that when COVID happened and when we got back to Canada, there was a mandatory 2-week quarantine. And so we had to, and as a matter of fact, the last virtual convention we did, we were both mid-quarantine and we were sitting in our apartments in Canada, and I think we had like a week left until we were going to film the final 2 episodes of Supernatural. But because of that, there were going to be a lot of beloved characters that were in heaven with us. But that was just, it was just a scene or two. And so when you think about a lot of the other cast that's been a part of the show forever and ever, they have kids and spouses and jobs and mortgages of their own. So you couldn't really ask, Rob and Richard and Samantha Smith and Jeffrey Dean to come sit in a hotel room for 2 weeks just to be in one scene. And so that was the biggest change that I know of. I don't imagine I'll get in trouble for that. Whatever, it's too late anyways. I already said it. So, neener. But yeah, those are the biggest changes, is that the heaven that Dean deserved was filled with a lot of people from Dean's past. As it worked out, it kind of worked out like a happy accident, because the show, again, talking about storytelling in general, the show started out Sam and Dean. That was the show. That was the pilot. That was the first couple of seasons. And it was always about Sam and Dean. And Dean said it himself in the barn, when it comes down to it, it's always been you and me, meaning Sam and Dean. And for it to end like that full circle was pretty magical storytelling. So maybe it ended up the way it should be. And maybe we get all of us together for the reboot. Stacy Klobnik. Hi, Jared. Thank you for everything. What is the one thing you will miss the most? Good luck with Walker. Thank you. The one thing I will miss the most. God, there are a lot of things I'm going to miss deeply. I think the one thing I'll miss the most, it's hard to say one thing. I'll miss our crew a lot. I'll miss the family, and not taking anything away from our Walker family, but just, you make lifelong friends over 15 years, and just catching up with them, just feeling that comfort, just feeling that familiarity, If Walker goes 15 years, I'll be 53. So it's very different going from 22 to 38 than 38 to 53 or 54. And so I grew up a lot on Supernatural. I met my wife, and now we've been married 10 years and have 3 kids. And so I've been through so much. I have so much history with a lot of those people. And it's also weird shooting Walker in COVID times, because everybody's wearing masks. You're not supposed to get close to anybody. And so, for 15 years, essentially for 325 episodes, when you get to set, you're hugging everybody. You have that human contact. And, when someone's had a tough weekend, you can go and give them a hug and talk to them and say like, hey, you all right? Like, I'm thinking about you, and checking in. This will change. This too shall pass. But for now, it's just different. It's different. So I'll miss you guys. I hope we'll do this again in person and see you guys. I miss human contact. And I miss the SPN family, both, behind the cameras in Vancouver and behind the scenes in Chicago or Vancouver or New York or Toronto or, Jacksonville or Tennessee, wherever. Okay. Oxane. Hello, Jared. How did you prepare to shoot Dean's death? It must have been very hard and emotional. You were brilliant. Love from France. Merci. I'm sure there's a better way to say it. It's not Oxane. I'm sure it's Auchan. Auchan. That wasn't me farting, by the way. This was my chair. How did you prepare to shoot Dean's death? How could you possibly prepare to shoot Dean's death? We shot that scene in September, and I had been reading it. I had known about that since, June or July of 2019, and I've been reading that scene since February, because we were supposed to shoot in March, April. And so I had a lot of time to kind of deal with it. And a lot of what that scene was, even just watching it, that wasn't acting. I knew the lines left, right, and center. I could have done them in my sleep. I might have. I asked Genevieve. I may have been saying them in my sleep. I knew all the dialogue. I knew the blocking. I knew where we were. But it was just most of the time on set was spent trying not to cry, and the way so that barn scene, it was a huge fight scene. And I know it only lasted 30 seconds on camera, but it was a massive, massive fight scene. We actually shot in that barn for 3 days. We shot out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the first week of September, whatever that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was. And Bob, Bob's done this for a long, long time, and he was intelligent enough to go hey, we're going to shoot all the walking into the barn stuff, all of the fight stuff, and then we're going to dedicate 1 day to once Dean has been impaled. Because if you try and go and do a fight scene for 6 hours and then get into the super emotional stuff, good luck. You're going to be, you're going to feel like you're actually dying. And so he let us do it on that Friday, the Friday before we wrapped. It was really difficult to prepare. I just tried to read it over and over again. And I think, and this sounds really weird, but I tried to read it so much that I got bored. I wanted to get bored with it. And that sounds really strange, but it was so emotional to me. Every time I read the scene, I cried. Literally, every time I read the scene, I'd be on my treadmill and my kids would come in and be like, Dad, breakfast is ready. I'd be like, and so that was Jared crying, and I didn't want Jared's emotions to get in the way of Sam's journey and of Supernatural's story. And so I tried to just go through it over and over and over again. And it was a difficult scene. It's still difficult to watch. And I've watched, this morning, I woke up early because I couldn't sleep. And I was watching a few reaction videos, and just hearing the scene in the background of the reaction video, I was sort of dusting away tears. Okay, thank you. Chiara Avancini. Hi, did Sam tell his son about all the hunting stuff? Is that why he got the Winchester's tattoo? Or did Sam tell him to get it tattooed? That's a great question. Yeah, Sam told his son. Yeah. Of course he did. He told him about his Uncle Dean. He told him why he was named what he was named. And he also told him the importance of taking care of himself, and not spending his life saying goodbye to friends and family. And then his son just wanted to get it tattooed. So it's a great question. Shahar Grimberg. Hi, Jared. I'm Shahar from Israel, and I'd like to know if there's a show you would have wanted SPN to cross over with. Hi, Shahar. Yeah, there are tons of shows I would have loved for Supernatural to cross over with, and I feel like Supernatural could have gotten away with it because, if we can play ourselves in French Mistake or be on a game show or a CSI Miami and changing channels, then we certainly could have gotten away with doing a crossover. I mean, obviously, I think it would have been kind of a funny moment to cross over with Walking Dead back when Jeff was on it, because that could have made for some good moments of Sam and Dean seeing John, and John not necessarily knowing who these guys are or why their hair's so long. We talked about doing an Arrow with Amel for a little bit. There were tons. Maybe someday, if people are interested, maybe we can do like a reboot, and part of the reboot is kind of a funny crossover of a few shows that have been gone for a while. So those are the ones that come to mind, all right. Skippy with the C, Scippy. Who are the first people Sam would want to see in heaven? Obviously Dean. Bobby. Mom. Sully. I think Sam's heaven is mostly Dean, and that was another reason why we when I read the script, I asked our wardrobe department to get me the outfit from the pilot, because for me, I thought that Sam's heaven would have been, I think that Sam's happiest moment in some weird way, shape, or form was when he made that commitment to get back on the road with his brother. He had a rough childhood, and then he went off to do his thing and go to school and be a lawyer, and that obviously didn't happen. But I think when Sam got on the road with his brother, as much as he was making fun of his mixtapes or whatever, I think that was Sam's happiest moment. And then, because obviously there was a lot of loss and heartbreak after that. But, the actual wardrobe I wore back in 2005 in the pilot is long gone. So they had to kind of recreate it as best they could. But I think that Sam's heaven is mostly his brother. Vania Montoya. Hi, Jared. Sending you love from Mexico. Oh my gosh. Thank you. If you had the chance to work with Jensen again, what kind of project would it be? I will get the chance to work with Jensen again. That's not The Last of Us. We'll work together again for sure. Hopefully sooner than later. I know he's, as you all know, he's going up to Toronto to work with Eric again and Phil and do The Boys, a different kind of The Boys, which is kind of funny. And I'm here in Austin, but I think he knows he has a standing invitation to do whatever he wants down on Walker. And I don't know if I can get to Toronto. I'm too busy with Walker, but we'll find something somewhere. And it'll be great. Sam Winchester's hair. Howdy, Jared. The name's Ollie. Hey, Ollie. Which one food typically considered really weird or gross that you genuinely enjoy? Also, you're the coolest. Thanks, brother. Ollie, I hope you don't mind, man. Sam Winchester's hair is now a little bit shorter, so I hope that's cool with you, man. What's one food typically considered really weird or gross that you genuinely enjoy? Man, I kind of like I'll do the opposite. So I kind of eat everything. I eat all sorts of food, and a lot of it. And maybe I'll do it this way. I don't like olives. I love olive oil, but I don't like olives. Like if there's olive on a pizza, I'm like, nah. Like get this out of my face. I don't really love chocolate. I have a huge sweet tooth, but for some reason I just never got into chocolate. And not that I hate chocolate. I'll eat a piece of chocolate, but I don't think I've ever bought chocolate. I don't like black licorice, like the cassis flavor or whatever. What's something I enjoy? God, I mean, I eat all sorts of stuff. Like I'll eat all that weird stuff. Like I think we went to Sao Paulo and went to Chascaria, and I think I had like sweetbreads and liver, and I'm sure we had all sorts of stuff. I didn't speak the language, Portuguese, so I don't know exactly what I was eating, but I was enjoying it. But I'll try everything once, man. I love spicy food. I want to be on hot ones. I've said that for years. Yeah, I'll eat whatever kind of hot food you got. Thanks, Ali. Last question. Okay, Betsabe, BETSABE _ Winchester. Hola, Jared. I'm Betsabe. That's an awesome name. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. Betsabe. Do you have any advice for people with anxiety? You have helped me through a lot. Thank you and love you. Well, thank you and love you back. Yeah, I guess I do have advice. Well, I don't know if it's advice, but one of the things that's worked for me is just accepting that it's not going anywhere. You know, I think if you have anxiety and you're trying to get rid of it, you'll probably frustrate yourself, as opposed to just saying, like, I read some quote, I think it was Eddie Vedder, the lead singer of Pearl Jam, who I love, was saying that he kind of sees his demons as somebody who's riding in a car with him. Like, they're not going anywhere. You're not going to get rid of it. And that's okay. But just learn that it's going to be there, and learn how to live with it, just in case you never live without it. But you got this. I know you do. So take care of yourself. Right. Love you. Okay. All right, guys. I wish I could see y'all's faces, not just y'all seeing mine. But I'm really grateful for you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed the last couple episodes of Supernatural, and I hope to see you soon. Okay. Bye, guys.